Awesome. Good morning. No, start already. We have to start over. What do we say?
Welcome to 2025.
Welcome to 2025.
What a
We
year.
are so excited for it to be 2025. I was just telling Nazareth that I think that the new that New Year's is my favorite holiday.
Hmm.
And I think that and I realized it yesterday because I re- I have figured that I truly love the idea of like having like a reset. So like
You also love
I
Mondays.
love Mondays.
I know, it's
I
weird.
love Mondays. And
Everyone, like the
so
whole house is like, and you're like, get up, kids, it's Monday. And the
like
kids are like, bro,
oh,
I'm
I
not
love
stoked.
Monday. So I think New Year's is what does it. Like it's the same. It gives me the same feeling, but like everybody has that
But
feeling.
yeah, because New Year's is better because it's not like you're back at work or anything yet or school.
Yeah, but like yeah, you have like the day off. Like you're going somewhere tonight. I'm going somewhere tonight. Is this gonna be like one of the only New Year's that we've spent apart?
Probably. Who am I going to kiss at midnight?
You're gonna kiss our baby
Morrissey.
girl.
um,
You're gonna hug our daughter while she goes and sees Morrissey and just dies. But yeah, I think I really love New Year's and kind of what it brings. And so today I wanted to talk about New Year's and about what I believe can really actually change somebody's year. Because I think we hear a lot of stuff like on social media, like like planning for 2025, getting ready for 2025. Sorry, I'm like my daughter was making me laugh so hard last night.
yeah, you were coughing up a
And I
lung.
was coughing up a lung because of it. So I think that there's a lot of stuff that people talk about with 2025. And, I think there's a lot of really good intentions, and I'm not, dissing anything, and I'm totally into it too. But when I was thinking about what actually could change somebody's 2025, it's not goal setting, it's not a resolution, etc. And it really stems from the fact that I'm going into this in 2025 I will have been coaching for 5 years, and I have coached a lot of people, and this seems to be the number one thing that I actually teach people across the board, because everybody's different, everybody's going through something different, everybody needs a different approach. So my coaching is very personalized to that, but this is the one thing that's like to me is like universal.
All right. And we'll
So
tell you the one thing next time. Just kidding. Go for it.
I know. Okay. So the number one thing is changing how we think about the hard bits. So we titled this episode Hard Times from was it
Cro-Mags.
Cro-Mags.
Or Paramore, depending on your generation.
And it really is the idea that everybody in this life has had hard bits, hard times. And I think that it's natural and it's humanistic to want to avoid hard things and to not want to go there, not want to do the uncomfortable, not want to like go towards like the icky feelings or whatever. But or have triggers, and we want to avoid the triggers, right? Especially as people that like us who like deal with anxiety. You're like, I don't want to drive down that street. I had a panic attack there one time, so I'm just gonna like avoid that street. But the truth of life is that we can't, right? Like we cannot avoid the hard things, and
Well, I never would have understood agoraphobia if people stuck in their homes or
yeah,
whatever. If I never went through anxiety after a medical
having a
issue,
stroke, yeah,
having a stroke, and then thinking I was having another stroke and having a panic attack, and then going, well, I don't want to feel that way again, and then all
yeah,
this stuff, and then you
you get
realize
it,
how you go. I had a panic attack at the grocery store, so I don't want to go there anymore.
right?
I had hello dot Tom, and then I don't, and then pretty soon your world gets smaller and smaller
One hundred
when you
percent.
start avoiding. And that I thought I was protecting myself, but once I went to therapy I realized I was doing all the wrong things, and
Yes,
avoidance
yes,
was feeding the
the fear of it.
the anxiety. Yep.
Yes, because it's reinforcing that you should be scared of that street. You should be scared of the grocery store, etc. And we don't want to go too deep. We're not your therapist, but there is just things in our lives that are hard. We have to have hard conversations. We're avoiding like confronting somebody, etc. And it's like, oh, it's so painful to like go to those places. But the number one thing that I have been able to transform my own life, you've transformed your life, and what I teach my students is that these hard bits of life are actually meant for your good. They are meant to grow you. They are meant to get you to your next level, whatever that level is. And it's okay to be scared while you're confronting the hard bits. And it truly is something that, regardless of what your goals are for 2025, your resolutions, which I'm like, yeah, have goals, have all the things, want to try and do things. But inevitably, when you're actually trying to pursue those things, it's going to be rough. You're going to come against something that's like pushing up against it. And when it does, inevitably when it does, be like, oh, amazing. It's happening. Because the hard parts are where we get to that next level. When we're like, oh my gosh, this is hard. I'm going to break through it. We all talk about we want breakthroughs. You don't just wake up and have a breakthrough. You go through a hard bit and you learn the lesson that hard bit is trying to teach you, and that is your breakthrough.
And that's, you talk about like fight, flight, or fright, where people often will avoid conversations, tough conversations, or they'll come at it with, you know, anger and bitterness, and or they'll just lock up and they can't, you know, and
Yeah.
you got to have those hard conversations, or you got to do the hard thing, because it's actually eating you away the longer you know you have to do it and you can't do it. Or, you know, even in the salon world, you get a couple bad reviews and
Yeah.
it's easy to like spiral and go, oh my gosh, we're done, or whatever, instead of going,
Right.
okay, is there any truth to this? Like, can we use this to improve, or can we just go, if anything, even at the least, you can use it to improve your
Response.
durability, or
Right.
your like your hard shell sort of thing, and go like, well, this is part of doing business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep trudging forward despite
Yes.
what, you know, a couple of
1,000%.
people are saying.
1,000%. And truly, like, it's not easy by any means. And like, I don't want it to sound like it's just like flippant of just be like, oh, when hard times come, just be like, woohoo. Like, it's hard. Like, we just had, a really crazy how was your holidays, by the way?
I don't know. You were there.
But like we had like a really crazy. It really hit me really hard with a friend fighting for their life, and I really had to, like, in the midst of grieving, in the midst of being really angry and scared, and just straight up devastated, having to just really like utilize the tools of like pause. And
Because I remember we went to go visit her in the hospital, and there was a point where you said, I can't go in. I can't do this.
yeah,
And, you know, I was trying to encourage you, like, you're doing this for her, not for you.
yeah,
And, like, it was such a huge moment when you went. You were so grateful that you did go.
oh yeah,
And, of course, it was just a fleeting moment where you felt that way.
Right.
But that may have been something, I mean, we've had issues in our own lives where someone in our family is sick, or there's a situation and, like, people don't show up. People
Yeah.
say, I can't, I'm not going. I can't.
I can't.
And that's, you know,
Yeah,
that's
and
their
like,
prerogative, but is that helping you move forward?
right. But it's like in that moment having to like sit and say, okay, like this is happening. I can't change this from happening. And even like, okay, what am I supposed to learn? How am I supposed to grow in this moment? Like, what am I supposed to know? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to channel my energy from, devastation to positivity, right? Or, and just like doing that. And luckily in our case, like she's making it through. But it's like we're gonna go through hard times, and there's no way to avoid it. But what we can learn and what we can do is have tools of when they happen. We have tools to lean on, and it's not easy, and it's not always immediate, and sometimes it comes 3 months later. But hopefully it just become that the gap becomes shorter.
There's an old adage in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is like, you win or you learn. Gosh,
Can
I'm
you stop doing
choking
that?
too. Yeah, I can't.
Okay.
It's not Neptune.
Oh,
Thank you, buddy. I'm okay.
oh, he's so concerned.
But it's like you win or you learn, right?
Sorry, that's
So
our cat.
if you win, you might learn a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you lose a match or something,
Mm-hmm.
you can learn a lot more by what you did wrong and how to improve. And that's the same thing with,
Not even what you did wrong, but just like what happened.
well, yeah, what
'Cause
happened, this
sometimes it's
situation.
not always like
Sure. But
you
I
did
mean,
something
I'm talking
wrong.
specifically in jujitsu, like you
Okay,
probably
gotcha.
did something wrong or, you let
Yeah.
them get a position that they
Sure.
shouldn't have. But I mean, I think that applies to life. Like, there's that, it's probably not real, but it's like, you know, Thomas Edison learned, 3,000 ways not to invent, you know,
Like,
a lot of the things that he invented. But it's true. It's like you learn each time you go through something, and that's, kind of what we're here for.
that
That's
is
how
the
we
reason,
grow.
That is the reason for the hard parts. That is the reason. So start looking at the hard parts in just a different way. Instead of how do I get out of this? How do I avoid it? How do I fight my way through it? How do I pretend it doesn't exist? Start asking, what is it here to teach me? What is it here to show me? And then be grateful for it. Which really sucks.
We actually think about that. We try and, because we read a book together called Embrace the Suck by a
Yes.
Navy SEAL. And I mean,
So
it's
good.
just an amazing book, but it's also like the stuff that he went through is pretty much unimaginable to almost anybody else. And it's all about moving forward through it, not
Yeah.
sitting and wallowing. And I think
Not
that,
trying to get out of it,
Right.
but saying okay, I'm going through it. So then just
and so Joy and I ask each other sometimes when we're struggling, like, what can we do to embrace this and move
Mm-hmm.
towards it instead of away from it? Because we found that's the way to get through, not just mental health stuff, business stuff, marriage. If there's tension between us, like there in the past when we first got married, it would have been a temptation to be like, well, just don't bring it up because we don't want to, right? We don't want to start that. But then, of course, after we do and we talk through it and everything's better, as opposed to this tension that's just kind of
right.
simmering there for weeks or months.
Yeah, 100%. So that to me is how to actually change 2025. You're going to go through hard bits this year. I know everybody's like, oh, 25 is our year. Maybe, maybe not. So, really embrace it. And yeah, do that work of transforming how we think about the hard stuff. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Do, 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 do. Had a lot of people waving on Instagram.